Hello, everyone. Welcome in. My name is Jessica Johnson. I'm the Director of Marketing for the Storage Group. Stand by for us just one moment. We have an opening video that we would like to play for you before we get started today. So give me just one quick second. And while we're waiting, actually, if you could go into the comments section and please tell me your name and your company and where you're calling in from. I'm in sunny Florida. It's not very warm today, but I am here in my home office. So put your name and where you're from, your company name in the comment section. And that's how you're going to interact with us today, is through the comment section. If you have questions while the panelists and I are speaking today, please go ahead and enter those into the comment section. That is where we will be able to engage with you. So everyone, if you can put that in the comments, your name, and we'll pop some up here. I see Josh Huff, Scott Kelly's here with us. Hi, Josh and Melissa. We've got people piling in. We're going to give everybody a couple minutes just to get in here, and we will be playing an ad here for you just in a quick second. And like I said, don't feel like you have to wait until the end to ask us questions. You are able to do that while we are live. So stand by for just 1 second and we are going to get started. And actually, we have an announcement that we're going to make on behalf of one of our speakers today. So stay tuned for this announcement. So that's a pretty exciting announcement for Sue Haviland from Haviland Storage Services and Lighthouse Storage Solutions, Melissa and Josh Huff. I'm going to let Sue tell the story. It's a pretty cool story, but give us just one more second. We're going to get started here in just a minute.
Welcome to a Megabyte Series webinar, Top 5 Website Upgrades to Dominate 2026. Brought to you by the Storage Group. We have over 15 years of experience of working with self-storage facilities to maximize their online presence. We offer progressive websites, targeted digital advertising, and online rental software, helping facilities like yours gain visibility, convert more renters, and generate revenue. Enjoy the webinar.
All right, everyone, I gave you the housekeeping items. If you have questions while we go through this webinar, put that in the comment section. I see comments coming in. Please tell us who you are, where you're from. And before I announce, excuse me, my first speaker, Peter Speckenagel from Citizen Storage Management, we have a video from him that we're going to play for you real quick. All right, everyone. That's two really great groups for you to get in touch with. If anyone is out there and you're an owner operator and you're looking for assistance with third-party management, Peter's group and Sue's group are both going to be great groups for you to get in touch with. We'll put all of their information into the chat for you. And when we do the follow-up after today's event, we'll send you their information as well if you'd like to get connected to them. So I'm going to bring up Peter, and Peter can tell us a little bit more about what they do over at Citizen Storage Management. Hey, Peter.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Trying to keep warm here in Michigan. We're getting a lot of snow, but jealous of Florida. But we're a owner operator, but we also do third party management. Been doing this now for about 16 years and overseeing operations for around 110 locations.
That's awesome. Great career so far in storage. You've been around for a while and happy to have you here with us today. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. All right. The lady with the big announcement, Miss Sue Haviland. Hey, Sue.
Hi, Jess. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, it's an exciting announcement for me, and I'm really excited. Being the old dog in the fight of 37 years, I'm super excited to be working with Melissa and Josh every time we drag him in as much as we can. But I think Melissa and I are going to be a great superpower team with all our experience, and I'm loving the aspect, as like I said, the old dog, to keep it fresh, keep it new and exciting for our clients and even our one-off customers. And we've got a great year ahead, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, and you can come see us both in April at ISS because we both have speaking gigs as well.
Awesome. We'll be happy to post that information for you as well, Sue, to help promote those speaking sessions. You guys definitely need to go meet with Sue and Melissa. They are going to be quite a tag team in the industry. I'm super excited for you guys to see what you do. So thanks for being here, Sue.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And last but certainly not least, a fellow FSSA board member of mine, Mr. Scott Kelly from StoreRight Self Storage. Hey, Scott.
What's up? What's up? How you doing?
Good. How are
Born
you?
in the 60s, first real job in the 90s. Oh, wait, no, that's not me. Pretty close. That's the internet, actually. But, since we're talking about websites today, I mean, that's when the very first website was launched, if you can believe it. But I started in 97, so I've been around a while. But, it's crazy to think that up until about 2010, most storage operators were still spending about half their advertising dollars on yellow pages. And then that same decade, it went completely obsolete. And so now it's transitioned to a good website or die, really, right, as an operator. So, in storage ops, I've been part of that website buzz from the very beginning. I've watched sites morph from basically a blank page almost into a smart, organic, interactive site, and that can load as quickly on a smart device as a desktop. So it's pretty cool what we've seen happen over the years. And the storage group, of course, is a leader in that. But my name is Scott Kelly. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of StoreRight Self Storage, and we're a family-based Lakeland, Florida operator since 2009. I joined them about a decade ago in ownership and operations capacities. Currently have 9 locations and about 700,000 square feet rentable. I haven't cracked the top 100 operators list for a few years since we sold off a few, but hoping to do that again soon. And check out our really cool website that is hosted by the storage group, storeright.com. Nice and easy. And if you're there, feel free to rent a unit or two.
Love that. Love that, Scott. Love it. Well, I'm going to bring Peter and Sue back up as well, and we're going to kick this bad boy off. And like Scott kind of just alluded to, we are talking about websites today and the importance of websites. So today's topic is the top 5 website upgrades to dominate 2026. You have to dominate in the digital space. Everyone's basically going there to rent from you. Yes, they still call. Yes, they still walk in. But I'm sure if you look at your metrics, those have really dramatically changed over the years. Lots of website traffic coming in. So this is really important. And the top 5 that we're going to discuss have intention behind them. I believe that they're going to create operational efficiency for you and revenue. So that's what we need to do, right? So Peter, I'm going to throw this first one your way. Number 1, upgrade the Rent Now experience, the customer experience, how critical that is, and some of those call to actions and triggers and formats we can have on the website to make sure we are making this process easy, because we know, right, if it's not easy, guess what? They're going to the next guy. There's no loyalty here. So Peter, tell me how that looks for you.
Yeah, I guess maybe I'll start on the history of us doing rentals online. We started doing it back probably 2012. And when we started to do renting online, when you click that button, it would actually take you to a different company's landing page, and there was multiple pages and steps that they would get through in order to actually complete the online rental. But it was one of the things that we really believed in, the Amazon kind of experience of completing the shopping online. And then over the years, we've refined and got a lot better with our online experience and making sure that it's a smooth transition, that it's not going off the website to a different company, that there is a clear status up at the top too of what step you're on until completion. We even decided to get rid of our reservation button. So a lot of times we would have a move-in button and a reservation button, and we've now gotten rid of that and had it on one button. So when somebody starts the process, they're either reserving or renting. If they don't complete that process, they've now reserved that unit and have been entered into our CRM system to do follow-ups and marketing drip campaigns. And we track that abandonment rate too, which I think is absolutely huge. That also helps refine kind of your process, the look and feel and workflow of from start to finish when somebody decides to transact with you.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up abandonment. We have a feature within our websites that helps capture that, where it sends a message almost immediately, or it has a time parameter, right? Because, like, my God, first of all, I have ADHD. Second of all, look at all that we consume as humans on a daily basis, right? I may have every intention on renting from you, Peter, and I get a phone call or something happens, and then it sends me into that abandonment. So those are really critical triggers where if you don't have mechanisms set up like that, I think you're going to be losing money. Scott, Sue, Sue, go ahead. I know you got some stuff.
Same. I have some of my websites with you guys as well, and we track the abandonments. And you can say all that, it's all well and good, but one of the things I wanted to hit home with everybody today is, one, if you don't have the right person who's monitoring and keeping track of this, doing that job, and 2, if you're not even doing it. A lot of times you have all these capabilities and you're not even using them. You never go on your dashboard. You don't have reviews. You don't know that you can set up a follow-up to abandonments and see what page they're actually abandoning on and all that kind of stuff. So it's key to have the right person monitoring this stuff. It's not a set it and forget it or check it once a year thing. And, with all the things we're seeing come out with AI and everything else, it's more important than ever to make sure you understand the services you have and that you're utilizing all the functions that you have available to you to optimize to the best of the ability of your website that you have.
Yeah. And there's an automation play there too, right? So like you're saying, make sure you have the right person monitoring it. But in these abandonment mechanisms, like when we send an email, it's got a link in it for them to go right there and finish the completion of the rental, right? So you can trigger a lot through automation. Scott, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, sure. We've gone both ways with having just a move-in button and then also going back to also offering a reserve button. We do find some customers, and it's a shorter form, obviously. If you just want to reserve it, you pick a date, put in your basic name, email, phone number, and that's it. It's reserved. They still want to do that and take a look before they complete the online rental process. But we did go to the only exclusive move-in for a little while too, just like Peter's done, and then just kind of move back just to open it up for everybody. Because the most obvious thing is, if they're spending that much time choosing a unit, why are they just reserving it? Just get them right to rental. But some people still just want to look first.
Stanford did a study too on people visiting your website that you have 3 seconds 50% of people make a decision whether or not to do business with you within 3 seconds, and 94% of that is based off the layout, design of your system, the easeability for somebody to do it. So if you have a website that's kind of clunky, that's not clear, that's not, there's a bunch of other stuff we're going to get to, but really you have 3 seconds of 50% of people before they leave your website to make an impression.
And then Peter, I think in our planning call, we had talked about positioning, right? You want that rent now button above the fold. Like that has to be so blatantly obvious where that person can figure out how easy it is to click to get to that rental page, your unit feed, et cetera. So a lot of this has to even do with just positioning within the website and multiple positions to get them there, right? It doesn't just have to be, don't just put it on the homepage. There's other pages within your navigation where they should be able to get there as well.
I'd say, how many of you have actually ever gone and tried to do a rental on your own websites? I mean, if you struggle with it, what do you think it's like for your customers? So, I would challenge everybody to just go do that process and see if it's as easy as you think it is, or could be a frustration point for a potential customer or an existing one.
And I threw this comment up from Shannon from XPS. If the website looks old, I assume the facility isn't well maintained. Yeah, same. I came from a food background. If I went to a cabinet that had 2 sandwiches in it or a cabinet that had 50, the one with 2, I think they're expired, right? I'm going to the one with 50. It's the same kind of concept. But yeah, these are all good things for people to be doing. I'm going to move on to point 2 for time restraints. Adding conversion tools. Do any of you on your websites have a click to call button where it's going to a dedicated line, or a text SMS option that you have, or even a chat bot where people, call centers, Shannon's on here from XPS, call centers typically only go to about like 10 o'clock at night. They're not usually 24/7, but you put a chat bot on your homepage. Now you can be open 24/7 if that chat bot's set up right. So anybody doing that? Scott, I'll start with you to see what you guys are doing over at StoreRight.
Sure. We're not fully launched with a chat bot yet, but I was just talking to Jill actually earlier today for some pricing on that. It's a great idea. The basic functionality can have pre-programmed responses to questions like, what are your business hours? How do I choose the right size? Some of those things. It's all very programmable. But the other thing we did is we added a text us option, which you alluded to, of course, and that's helpful for people that they don't want to do the face-to-face and they don't even want to do the phone-to-phone, but they'll grab their cell and just shoot off a quick message, hey, how much are your 10 by 10s? And then the manager has a chance to respond to that just as an initial touch with them without even getting as far as a phone call or a face-to-face. So that all of those things are helpful. Yeah. And I wanted to mention one other thing quickly in the last point, load speed, but also the mobile friendly version of the site is so important. Mm-hmm. Initially, maybe it was 10 or 20% of conversions came through mobile. Now it's probably 60 or 70%. And so your mobile version has to be as functional and as clean and crisp as the full site version does.
Yeah, what's interesting too, I know I'm raised a lot of stats, is that if somebody goes to your website on a mobile versus a desktop, they are 5 times more likely to close out your website if it's poorly designed versus like if they went on a desktop. So it's extremely important that you have a mobile first strategy when you're designing your website on how it goes. Because again, just like what Scott's saying, the majority of your traffic is through mobile and they are not patient. So you got to really go after it. And the same thing for the texting, the chat bot, all that stuff. I'm a big believer in omni-channel approach communication with all our tenants, which means we want to communicate with them however they want to communicate. So if they want to text us, if they can text any of our numbers, all of them we come into our internal call center and we're able to have any of our employees answer that text. They want to be able to chat, they can do that, get information that way. They want to call, they can do that, email. We want to make every possible way that a tenant might want to communicate with us available for them and make it very easy.
Yeah, absolutely. Sue, I know you wanted to talk about how you have to have a touch point for each type of customer, right? My parents are boomers. They're probably not going to rent online. They probably want to talk to somebody, but talk to me about some of that part as it plays into the website.
Well, I probably see that a lot more based on kind of like the type of portfolio I have too, with I have some very, very large properties, and So those are the kind of properties where people still expect people to be there for those touch points. And again, a couple of those are right smack dab in the middle of senior, the Del Webbs and all those kinds of places. So I think in the ease of like it being easy to use, having those options like the text me, the chat bot, all those options. So it's like when we do training, everybody has a way they learn or like do things. So you have to have all those spaces available for your audiences. And I think we get so wrapped up sometimes in the latest technology or what somebody else's toys are that we don't make sure we have all the right toys in place for our own properties. We're just going to a show and hearing this and we think we put it on. And again, that goes, and I'm going to preach today about if you aren't reviewing your dashboards and looking and knowing what's working for you, it doesn't matter what somebody else has. You got to find if you have something that's working really well or not working and play with it and fix it or add to it. And added the chat bots about 3 months ago. So I actually have my first enough stats that I have on my dashboard review next Friday.
That's awesome.
I will see, on the sites that I tested it at, how much it's being used or what they're hitting on. Yeah. I'm excited to see that data.
Yeah.
For the first time.
We're really proud of that product. It's called Aiden Chat. It is our version of chatbot here at the Storage Group. What one cool feature is you can type in it, right? I can type, I want a 10 by 10, or do you have a 10 by 10? Or I can talk it to the chatbot. And it'll pull an API call, it'll pull your unit feed, and then it's going to tell them if it's available. And right there, they can click rent and finish out the rental process. So it becomes a sales agent for you in a sense of people that are technically savvy or people that want to communicate with you in that way or transact with you in that way. We also have a voice agent that's coming out where it'll call a number. They're going to get through. It's all AI generated. And then once it gets to a point of rental, then it's going to push to a manager, a live manager, where they can complete the rental. So some pretty cool options out there. There's other people in the industry that do it, Swivel and some others. So I would look at these mechanisms because they're definitely going to be important. And this is the way consumers are used to interacting. I mean, I'll use a chat bot all day long before I get on a phone call with somebody, especially if they're offshore and then there's a communication barrier, and it drives me insane if I'm trying to do something. So that applies here too.
Add real quick to Peter's point about your mobile app too, is again, with a lot of the smaller operators, they've had a friend or somebody else build their websites. They come on a lot of our webinars to learn and hear things, but at the end of the day, a family friend or somebody else has made a website and they don't have a lot of these functions, or they think they do. And the mobile website is a key one I see when we audit a lot of times that doesn't work at near as well as their computer would, but it also has errors in it. And so I challenge you, like I would on your computer, to run a unit, try to rent one on your mobile app and find out if you're really, what your customers are seeing, because a lot of times there's a lot of shell work out there that isn't just, it looks pretty, but it isn't doing anything.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Let me add to Sue's point, if you don't mind, for a second, about accountability, which you mentioned. I've got most of my team on the webinar here today, and they'll attest to this, but I'm changing prices so often, web rates versus standard rates, for example, that they have to keep those websites open and know what's going on. But speaking to accountability, if that website goes down or a certain page stops functioning or the pay bill stops working or rent online stops working, I want our team to know first before our customers know. And if that ever does happen, of course, TSG has been very responsive to that. But that's just a good point, that if you're mixing things up online and your staff has to stay on their toes to see what's going on, that also helps them catch things that might not be working quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll start with this one with you, Peter. So you have multiple properties. Talk to me about how you utilize making landing pages within your website and the importance of the landing pages for your different properties and those being unique.
Yeah, I think it's important to have a unique landing page, obviously, but making sure it's part of the overall portfolio too, that they're able to go back and search other locations within a certain area, because we do have properties that are grouped close together, and if maybe we're fully occupied on one property, they can easily switch to another location. And I think it's interesting when you look at like SEO and the content that you have on your website, it's really switching to more how do you rank in a lot of these AI models that are out there, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and even with Google, they're now putting the AI generated result up at top when you're searching, and making sure you're able to answer specific questions on that landing page for that tenant will help you also rank with that, because AI is more of a conversation versus search results. So making sure you're changing the content on your website to be more dialogue based and Q&A based to help with those search engines and AI models. So absolutely, we want to have unique, high quality photos. I know Josh, I think, is on here for the drone stuff. Any type of videos, it's really kind of important to have that. I don't really get to it, but like the trust and reliability part of it too, where you have Google reviews on that landing page, you have high quality photos, all that stuff helps with the consumer trust.
And your own photos.
Yes.
Talk to us.
You laugh, but I bet wouldn't take very long. We could go find people using other people's photos. I've found my own being used before. So
yeah. Well, and
isn't that like catfishing? Is that what we're talking about now?
No, pictures of my properties on other people's websites of the doors. They don't like white out your name, Photoshop your name out, or there's something unique about the property and they liked the picture, and then you're like, yeah, I don't think you have this at your property.
Yeah. And I could tell you, look, I work for a website company. I look at a lot of websites every single day, and I see a lot of operators make the mistake here with landing pages. So this is an opportunity for you to go in your local market and look at your competitors' websites to see if they have weak landing pages and make sure that yours are optimized. And Google is going to recognize that difference for sure. So,
well, we're past the day of us all using the same stock photos.
You can't, you just can't anymore, right? So, and then that kind of leads into the next section about adding those trust builders. Sue, talk to me about an elevated level of photography. Like the days of stock photography are over. It has to be photos of your facility, but we can even elevate that and add some video content in there or some drone photography. Talk to me about how you're using that.
Yeah, well, we're trying to use all of it, and Josh is on here today, and Josh has done all my drone footage, and it's just been exceptional, and it's such a good tool to use, because not only do I use it, the packages he makes for me of the professional looking photos, the drone footage, you can make little commercials, and we like to constantly be updating all the Google stuff that just optimizes our SEO, and I use it. The photos, the drone footage in our social media platforms. I mean, people like to see people in real places too. So, any of the stuff that has our teams in it and showing things at the actual property. We've even taught our teams all, part of their quarterly bonus is they're making funny little videos and things that we can use on the social. A lot of that doesn't end up obviously on our websites, but it's just the full package of getting used to that and seeing, the real photos, the live videos, the teams talking about things. And, but again, I can't stress enough about one of the cheapest ways you can help look professional, which a lot of people think is too expensive, is to have professional photos or drone footage. And I don't mean go out and buy $100 drone and try to do it yourself. Not that it might not turn out okay, but more often than not, it's not going to have the same quality and the wow factor if you get it done professionally by somebody who knows how to edit it, knows how to put it in the right sequence and take care of it that way.
There's an added benefit to that as well. And Sue, we try to do that as well. Every year we get updated photos, updated drone videos. But as an owner, I've also caught issues that need to be done as well. You're watching the drone video and it zooms over one of the buildings and you see that the flashing or downspout has been crushed by a vehicle. And you're like, wait a minute, so then you suddenly catch maintenance issues that maybe need to be done. So not only is your website up to date, but then you can also use some of that feedback on items that need to be handled on the property.
Yeah. And the things like reviews and social media and everything, that those trust factors that get built out there, like that's going to signal Google from the organic side. And then you don't have to pay as much for the pay-per-click on the pay side. So you can get some organic flow going too if you do some of this trust factor work that we're talking about. Go ahead.
That's one of the things I like to brag about is I'm in some pretty tough, out in Southern California, some pretty tough markets. I compete with all the REITs. And I can tell you, I don't have over $1,000 Google spend anywhere.
Yeah.
And
you don't need to, right?
Some of the sites are a lot less, but we work hard at it. So there's so many things that we can do on our end, and from having the right vendors in place, but also the things that we do to help promote all that organic growth, that we stay up in the top positions. But again, it's who's working it. You got to know, you got to watch stuff like this. You got to have a good relationship with your vendors to make sure that you're utilizing all your products appropriately.
Yeah, definitely.
I can speak to that really quick, Jess, if you don't mind. The Google spend, for example, Sue, that you mentioned, one of the benefits of the storage group is their analytics and clicks and things like that. And in one of our first quarterly meetings, we reviewed some of this data and found out that almost 70% of my spend on Google pay-per-click was being run up on click farms, out of state, out of country. People just spending my money that had nothing to do with actual customers. And it was supported by the bounce rate. These clicks were staying about half a second. So literally just long enough to click the site and on to the next one, versus a real lead, which will spend, 30 to 40 seconds, sometimes a minute and a half. Yeah. So it was a real eye opener. So sometimes the analytics and that point just came up when you mentioned Google.
Yeah. Peter, you have anything?
No, I mean, I agree with everyone, what they're saying, and just kind of echoing off Scott, you can also upload negative audiences to Google Analytics or Google pay-per-clicks too. So if you have a list of your tenant base, upload that into your Google pay-per-click account so that Google does not show that ad to a current customer, because they'll click that just to make a payment, and you just paid a lot of money for getting money. So this is a really good way to reduce that spend on people that aren't going to actually transact, that are current customers.
Well, and if you're doing your analytics too, we keep preaching it, but if you're doing it, if, like Peter said, you're spending money where you don't need to, and you can move that, and heck, move it around all the time if you need to. My locations where I have just as many outdoor RV spaces, I do storage, and my storage is 97%. I'm moving it to the RV side or vice versa. So, but you got to pay attention to where you need to fill. Yeah.
And I think the recent SSA demand study, overall usage in the United States of it's 11, 12%. It's still very, very low, right? So you have to think, this is sometimes the very first time anybody's ever rented a storage unit in their entire life, right? So they may have a lot of questions. So I want to talk about the FAQ section. Peter, I'll push this to you first, especially because we talked about it a little bit earlier, but making that more conversational so it is resonating in AI overview or even in some of these chat platforms like ChatGPT and stuff. But again, you've got to answer these questions as best as you can, because they most likely have never rented before in their life and they have no idea what this process looks like. So what are you doing to make that look better in your world, Peter?
Yeah, it's hyper-focused on the frequently asked questions and making sure it's more of a dialogue response back to those. You obviously can use ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, or any of the other models out there, and maybe research and see what are the top questions asked for storage within that certain market, and see what it kicks back at you. And then review your website, and are you addressing those questions on your website? it's just you're constantly testing, constantly moving. And I know Jessica and I, we were just talking before this webinar that, ChatGPT is now talking about putting ads within their search thing. And so that I think is going to change a bunch of things on how we operate and where we spend our money. It's such a fluid thing right now. Things are constantly changing. If you're not staying up on it and you're not constantly trying to figure it out, everyone else is. And I highly encourage you to constantly research what's going on within the AI models, what's going on with Google, and making sure you're optimizing every single landing page, especially coming into the spring season where who knows, I'm hopeful that we're going to have a lot better lease up season this year, especially with interest rates down on homes, and hopefully see that transaction volume go up there, which will have a positive effect on our industry. So we're really trying to gear up for that spring.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. I'm going to move on to point number 5, and we've touched on this a little bit, but this is really critical stuff. And there's free things out there that you can use to run website scans on your website to get an idea of like what your load speed is, your core web vitals. Lighthouse has one. Josh is on here, not Lighthouse's company, but there's a Lighthouse report you can run through a developer tool on Google. I know he uses that one a lot. There's SEM. There's all these ways to kind of see your traffic and what's happening out there, Google Analytics 4. But you also want to make sure that everything is performing the way it is. Peter was talking about mobile optimization. I call it the circle of death on a website. If it takes more than, it used to be like 3 seconds. I think it's shaved down to more like 2.5, 2.8. Like that's how quick you got to get somebody loaded into your website. So if you've got large photos and things that are bogging that down, these scans will be able to tell you all of that, or working with a developer like our company, because we look at this stuff all the time and we make sure it's all optimized. So whoever wants to take this one first on what you guys are doing, are you looking at your web vitals, what you're trying to do to make some of these optimizations out there?
Sure. Well,
embedding video, a YouTube link, for example, that shows the preview thumbnail instead of the entire video. That's a big one, because obviously if the page has to load data, like you said, that's heavy, it's going to slow it down. So having an embedded video link that takes you to the right place, it can play in the background even, but you guys figured out how to optimize each landing page so that it loads quickly, and then the slower, heavier stuff is a kind of a click by click ad, which is really smart. So that background load is fast, and we're in such a society that needs instant gratification that we can't wait, like you said, even 3 seconds. So that's super important. But embedded video helps. Updates are often key as well with the Google generic listings and moving up your placement. So that means if you haven't looked at your website and made any changes for even 2 or 3 months, you're starting to slip down that list. So get on there frequently, go to your GMB listings and update those as well. Make sure they link to other listings like Yelp or Yext as well, so that every time you update your Google business listing, all of those update as well. And then that feeds right back into the website, And we have, speaking of the individual landing pages, again, briefly, but we have QR codes, for example, that we've put on business cards. We've got pay here, rent here signage as well. And when they do scan that QR code, instead of taking them to just our main parent site, it goes right to that specific location, which I've always found is frustrating. If I'm doing competition surveys, for example, I'll be in a certain market and I'll click on that website, and then it asks me which one of these 300 locations. I'm like, well, I already clicked on it. Why did you take me to the parent site instead of that specific website? So just honing in those links to go directly to the landing page is key.
Well, and then Scott, you just mentioned that's a frustration point, right? So that's user experience, no brand loyalty. I'll keep singing it from the rooftops. I'm frustrated. I hit X and I go to the next guy that's closest, same pricing, same amenities. You're out of the game for me as a consumer, right? Because we are moving fast as a human race. So
that's a great spot.
Yeah, it's good, Sue.
Probably half of the audits I do, Scott, that's one of the things I always check. I'll do a certain marketing preview of things, and I can't tell you how many times the QR codes they use go to the wrong place or don't work at all, and they've got it published on everything and they haven't even checked it. Or they've used a generator that expires instead of one that, so again, knowing.
I've been guilty of that. Listen,
or it takes you to a different company. I had one that, all their stuff took it to a plumbing company.
Oh, fun.
So I'm not sure how that happened, but I'm like, well, how long have you had this? And they're like, a couple years. I'm like, well, nobody's finding you from this. So,
I mean, website maintenance, it's a lot. It could be a full-time job, if you're moving things, and it can become a lot. I was on a website earlier today. It was a very, very robust website with a very, very, very robust navigation bar. But where I was trying to go and how many of the bars I had to look at in their drop-down menus to finally find what I wanted, it was like a 5-minute process. I'm probably exaggerating, but it felt like 5 minutes, right? So, Peter, talk to me about your navigation bar and like how that has to be so crisp and clean and direct.
Yeah, I think it was to the overall design of your website, right? You gotta. We used to heat map our other website to see where everyone is moving their mouse, how long they're hovering over things, where everything's organized, making sure the design elements are modern, clean, updated. Just like Shannon was saying on the chat, like if it looks old, you think your property's old and outdated, and the same thing. Just making sure that if the customer is using something or hovering over it or looking for something, you're heat mapping, you're checking it, and then you're adjusting your website accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. Sue or Scott, anything you wanted to add on that?
No, Peter hit it. I would just say, like you said, make sure you're checking if you need to upgrade anything. And, it all gets back to, it's so much stuff, but we still have to keep it simple. We have to keep it easy to use, and then utilize it to the best of our ability. And we just get so caught up sometimes in all the fluff that we, as operators we're in the fluff and we don't go with the 4 or 5 main things we really need to be focused on. So,
yeah,
we keep 2 main buttons at the top of the page: rent now and pay your bill. Right? The pay bill button. That's another really key component of all of your customer base. We have probably 4,500 customers at StoreRight that use our online bill pay quite frequently. And whether it's a mobile device or a desktop, that should be the easiest thing to find. How do I pay my bill? Get me in, get me out, done.
Yeah.
I mean, we train our managers when we have a new customer to train them on all our aspects of how to find us, how to pay us. And they'll right there show them how to do a review, how to make their payment, they'll take their phone and help them. So I think that's a key thing in the training for the people that you're actually seeing in person, is to help them with that as well and educate them on that and drive them to do it there.
Yeah, for sure. It's all about the driving, right? Absolutely. Well, we have only about 15 more minutes, so I want to invite the audience. This is your time to ask these seasoned professionals here from the self-storage industry questions about anything. Let's keep it website if we can, or what we're talking about today. But if you have another question, we've got them here. We have a little bit of time. And while you're thinking of questions, I'm going to throw in a bonus number here, number 6 upgrade suggestion, adding in storage unit size guides and a calculator. Again, another mechanism. This could be somebody's first time they've ever rented a storage facility or unit in their life. They may think that their 5-bedroom home is going to fit in a 5x10. But they need help here, right? It'll help them. So talk to me if any of you have a storage calculator that you're utilizing on your websites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, we do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are like that, but I also think they're very visual. So I like the 3D animation of things falling down into a unit, and this is what into it, like a 10x10, and it has to be quick too. So I like the visual aspect of it versus just I have to manually type something in. So we have both.
Yeah. And Google likes that interactive piece, right? Because when you have an interactive piece, typically the person's going to stay there longer and your bounce rate is going to go down. When we were just talking earlier, Sue, about broken links, Google doesn't like broken links. So we've talked about something Google likes and something Google doesn't like. And there's all kinds of things that go on both sides of the list, right? So I think it's an important thing to have. Sue, do you have it on your sites?
We do. We do. And I was just going to add in another plug on the drone footage too.
Yes.
Is when you're thinking about having that done or whatever, if you have show units that you like to show or the different sizes, you could stage up in that as well your little mini commercial showing the 5x5, the 5x10, 10x20 with certain things in it and showing it in real life video like that, as well as then the tool for the calculator, because people love a good visual, like Peter said. So you don't have to do every unit you have, obviously, but you can take your 2 or 3 main ones that people are asking you about the most. If you look what you see, what they're clicking on, and then highlight those even.
I mean, think if you're buying or renting a home and you can sit at your computer and get a virtual tour before you even go look at it in person, you can weed out a lot of the bad eggs, so to say, or something that you're not interested in. So same kind of concept there, right? We do have a question from the audience. This is from Shannon over at XPS. Online payment question. None of you are requiring auto pay? Question mark. Who does auto pay?
Yeah,
You require it, everybody?
The majority of all the remote sites I run, they're all mandatory auto pay. Unless they really have a unique, like in one property that has 300 units, we have 2 people that have to pay by check. So we work something out to do that. But otherwise, it's built into the website that they rent it, they're clicking on setting up auto pay. And what we'll sometimes do is entice it with, they get a promo the first month to sign up for auto pay. Or at one property I have, people on auto pay get an extended couple of hours on the gate.
That's
what works,
We make sure that box is automatically default checked. Now, if somebody wants to uncheck it, they can do that on the website. And then same thing with all our, if it's a collection event that we send out, whether it's text, email, robocall, somebody calling live, same thing, that box is always checked on whatever platform they have to sign up for auto pay. We push it hard.
Yeah.
Same thing. So is our insurance or protection plans. That's an automatic click, and they've got to unclick it if they don't want it.
Yeah.
We're still a little more flexible on that. We use an assumptive sale. Which card would you like to use for auto pay? Is $3,000 enough coverage? We use all of those things for insurance and auto pay. But we still have some markets with varying demographics, and 5 or 6% of our payments come in by cash. We still have businesses that only deal with checks and they just don't want to move to auto pay. And we introduced something to encourage people to move from stop into the office and pay to auto pay with an invoice fee. We bumped it up a little bit. So if you don't take auto pay, you're automatically enrolled in the $3 invoice fee. And it added probably $20,000 to revenue last year for the people that want to still manually pay or take up our employees' time. Now they're paying for it a little bit. So, and if they want to save the $3, go on auto pay. So we don't require it, but we do certainly encourage it and give people a push along the way.
Yeah.
My next question for the next webinar is, I've had, as soon as 2026 started, I had multiple of my owners and consulting clients ask me, Sue, can you check my software and see if we can automatically charge a % if they pay by credit card? So they want to start, like every other industry is charging, because our charges are so high, our expense on credit cards, they want to start charging, like a 3% to use a credit card. So that's our next thing. I think that's going to start coming up a lot. It's been coming up, but I think it's going to be coming up a lot more, because owners are going to say, I could help pay for this expense by doing this, and seeing what I don't know if either one of you have tested that yet, or
we do convenience fees. So it's making
automatically on every single person that uses a credit card.
On anyone who wants to use anything but in-person payment, we charge a convenience fee. So whether that's over the phone, website, text, email, online account automatically charges just a flat convenience fee. Now that's different than a credit card surcharge fee. And there's certain legal issues around both. Like the convenience fee, you have to have at least one channel that doesn't get charged a convenience fee. And then the surcharge one, I think it's going to get complicated because being able to, I think you can charge up to 3%, but there are rules too on it varies based off of credit card type, right? So you're charged different percentages based off if you're using a MasterCard versus an Amex. Amex is going to be more expensive. So do you have a system or your property management system be able to handle the different percentages to be able to stay legally compliant? And I think there are property management systems out there working to try to figure that out right now. But yeah, it's a tricky one. We just go with a flat convenience fee for those things to help offset the technology charges that we bear based off of giving them those convenient options to pay. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting thing going forward. I always joked around with some friends that like if you ever see a restaurant or a establishment charge a credit card surcharge fee, they're not doing well. And the reason why I say this is because typically you're able to bake in the cost of operating to your product, and now you're adding a different surcharge because you're struggling here. And that's the perception, at least, that I've always had with it. And I think that's changing a little bit now, just because it's now being adopted in a lot more industries and becoming a little bit more commonplace. But before it was like, all right, well, they are struggling financially, so they have to nickel and dime me here. And at least that's how I felt.
Well, I'm just always busy in California trying to keep up with every date to my lease I have for what fees we charge or whatnot. So when this question comes up, I'm like, oh Lord.
Yeah, the disclosures,
am I going to get this one written up?
Yeah. It's a lot operating there.
Yeah, it definitely is. I feel bad for anyone in California too. Good luck out there. Well, we are going to start wrapping up. A couple quick announcements as we wrap up. We are going to start getting into what we call trade show season. It's coming, right? Our first kickoff for trade show season is my home state, Florida, Scott's home state, Florida. We are both on the board of directors there. The Florida Self-Storage Association's event is coming up February 11th through 13th. Registration is still open. Hotel is still open. I think it's still even within the parameter of getting the discounted rate with the hotel. Don't quote me on that. It may have expired already, but nonetheless, you can still register for the event. The storage group will be there. We will be at booth number. I had the number and I didn't put it in my notes. Sorry. I think it's in the 300 somewhere, but I'll put it out on social media. We'll let you guys know.
You're not hard to find, Jeff.
Yeah, right. And then I do have a speaking session that Friday with Holly from Storable, Andrew from 10 Federal, and Cliff from Spacebox. So if you guys could stick around and come to our session. Anybody else on the call attending that event coming up in February?
Yeah, we'll be there. Just not trade show floor, but attending the spring one. I'm speaking at the ISS one in Vegas.
Cool.
And then obviously doing all the Michigan stuff here. But yeah.
Awesome. Scott, you coming to Florida? Am I going to see you in a couple weeks?
Oh yeah, we'll be there. Most of the team is coming too. So
perfect.
Always a good time.
And then Sue, we'll see you at ISS, not SSA, and you're speaking at ISS, correct?
Yeah. As of the moment, because you know me, I always say I'm going to try to slow down, hence Melissa. But, but then here I end up showing up everywhere. So as of right now, I've got ISS in April on the calendar.
Awesome. And if you look in the chat, my friend Shannon over at XPS, they have a panel too, the self-storage players. I'm on the education committee on the board, and I love this one. This one I was pushing for. So I'm excited. But I think it's at the same time as mine. So I really defeated myself there because I want to watch hers, but I also have to speak. So I don't know how that's going to work out. But
mine's a panel on peering into the future too, because I think that's on everybody's mind still. Us old timers, we used to be able to project and plan, and in a lot of ways it was pretty easy year after year. And these last few years we've just had all these different things going on that it's not as easy as it used to be in a lot of ways. So everybody's topics are always wanting, what should we do? Where are we going? How are we going to get there? Which it's always kind of like that, but it's just, I've seen more and more of that.
Yeah,
you know?
that's actually the panel that we're doing in Florida, Sue. Me, Holly, Andrew, and Cliff that I just mentioned, kind of like what we think is like projecting. We all have our visions of our crystal balls of what we think is going to happen. And we're going to talk about that. So we hope to, if you're here on the webinar, we hope to see you live at these events. Please stop by and say hello to all of us. If you're at any of these events, we all like to network. And this is how you get educated and meet people and figure out what you need to do for your own properties that you're running and get some best practices and some good ideas. And then speaking about some good ideas, my group, the Storage Group, we have some new content that we're bringing to you guys every single month. We have a new and revamped newsletter. It's called, I'm sorry. We have a new and revamped newsletter called The Modern Storage Operator that comes out the first week of the month. We followed by our ebook now. Our ebook is called The Terabyte. You'll get a monthly ebook from us. You'll get the webinar series from us once a month called The Megabyte. And then we have another piece that comes out the last week of the month called The Byte, where we're giving operators bite-sized information, tips to help you guys. We really want to be a resource for you. We've been in the game a long time, as well as these other people that I'm joined by today. So please sign up to get some of this stuff through our newsletter. We're really excited about the content we're bringing out to you to just try to help with everything that's going on in the world. So again, thanks for joining us today. If you have any interest of learning more about my team over here at the Storage Group, you can go ahead and scan that code. It'll take
sure it works.
That's what I was going to say.
Does the QR code work, Jess?
It better. I didn't test it because I've been on it. Like I was joking earlier, 2026 is definitely pranking me. It's been all gas, no brakes for me, but I'm confident in my team that QR code works. So if it doesn't, y'all know how to find me. I can get you a demo. I promise. And then one other quick one. I was just talking about our new series, The Megabyte. So next month in February 19th at 2 p.m. Our next one is how smart integration make owners happier and portfolios healthier. So you could scan that code. You can register now. We haven't released who our speakers are yet, but I promise you they're top notch, just like these guys and gals here today. So Scott, Peter, Sue, thank you guys so much. Scott said the QR code works. Woo! So thanks for that, guys. Thanks for being here. I hope to see all of you in a couple weeks in Florida. Sue, I won't see you until April, but it'll be good to see you, and congratulations on your partnership with Lighthouse Storage. That's really exciting news. Awesome. Take care, everyone. Good to see you. I will see you soon. Have a great rest of your Thursday. See, give me grace, guys. Just give me grace. It's
almost Friday.
Hey, new year, same Jess. I can promise you that. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.